Howdy diddle, howdy dee. Welcome to another episode of the Jedi in Exile. Matthew, stop shaking your head, you absolutely love it. We are here and we're talking about ROTJ. For all you non-Force users, that is Return of the Jedi. So episode 6, which is where the Star Wars films should have ended, the Skywalker saga. But anyway, that's a topic for another day. So we're going to be talking about Return of the Jedi in all seriousness in tonight's episode. Now remember, this will be episode 8 now, won't it, of our Skywalker saga reviews, because we've done the 6 main Skywalker saga and we've done Rogue One and Solo.
Yeah, correct.
So episode 8, we're on the final home straight. Don't forget, if you've missed any of the other videos, you can subscribe to our channel and catch them all. Drop us comments, likes, notification bells so you don't miss anything again. So let's get into it. Return of the Jedi. Matthew, what are your... Well, talk me through what you think about the film, mate.
I don't know, mate. So this is a difficult one for me. It's a great movie. It's a really good movie, and I think a really good kind of closeout of the trilogy. Because I think that's kind of how we need to come at this one. It was the last one at the time, and kind of closed out the saga for a long time. So I think it was really cool. I think we got some really interesting stuff, right? We get kind of Luke flirting with the dark side a little bit.
Yeah.
There's that, obviously, the really kind of famous scene that plays out on the Death Star, with Luke and Vader and the Emperor and all of that kind of stuff. So kind of interesting to see Luke. I guess it's slightly hinted at in Empire, right? Like when you see him kind of face off against himself within the cave and those kind of dark thoughts and stuff. But to see that explored a little bit more, and to kind of see what I think is quite a more mature Luke than we've witnessed in A New Hope and Empire. I feel like he's
The
very...
one little boy from Tatooine.
Yeah, he's very much, in A New Hope and in Empire Strikes Back, he's still that kind of that farm boy. He's got a few little wisecracks. He'll make a bit of a joke and stuff. And I feel like this is very much kind of grand Jedi Master Luke, and that kind of that step up.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, if you want to class Empire Strikes Back, he's like a Jedi Padawan, minus the braid. And this one very much feels like at the start of the film he's the Jedi Knight, and then by the end of it, obviously, like, by when he cuts off Vader's hand and he looks at, or Vader, yeah, it is the hand, isn't it? When he's doing the rage, and Vader's basically like given up, and he looks at his hand and looks at his own hand and is like, "We're the same." And then that for me is when he turns into grand Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. I think this film was good because I don't genuinely think after watching Empire that how Return of the Jedi is gonna finish. Like I don't think you genuinely know one way or the other if Luke's gonna join the dark side, whether he's gonna join Vader, they're gonna kill the Emperor, whether he's gonna kill Vader, like, or he's going to obviously stay in the light. I don't think you have really a clear idea from Empire what's going to happen. So I think that's what makes this film quite intriguing. We obviously, like you say, it's like the final piece of the jigsaw. We find out Luke and Leia are sisters. Like the fight at the end is cracking. I actually think the start of the film is really good. As much as this film is I think this film does start off fairly slow with the whole Tatooine Jabba's palace. But I actually think that's a really good. It's good storytelling, I think, by George Lucas. Um, so Jabba, I mean, is a bit of a fucking weird character. Let's get that straight in this little pet like monkey thing.
Big salacious crumb.
Yeah, yeah. But of course, from your benefit, there is a character in this part of the film who is like a little idol of yours, isn't it? There he is. For those not watching,
It wouldn't be an episode if we didn't bring him up, right?
For those not watching on YouTube, Matthew has just clicked a photo of Max Reba.
Big Max Reba. Honestly, this guy
Yeah.
is an absolute cult icon, and we love him.
Yeah,
He's
I am more into the woman with, I can't remember her name. We have spoke about her before,
is it
and I
Sly
found out her
Snootles?
name.
Sly Snootles.
Yes, 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 with the long mouth,
Yeah.
right? And she's dancing with that like hairy geezer. It's like, oh, he dance, 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 dance. She's like, na, 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 na,
Uh,
Anyway,
any likenesses to copyright controlled music are purely coincidental. No,
terrible.
but I agree with
No,
you. Like the Jabba scene,
yeah,
like the whole Jabba. I say scene, like the Jabba subplot, the part of the movie.
yeah.
I really like it because I feel like Luke appears and he's kind of got this new. Oh, he's dressed all in dark clothing, and you don't really know what's going on.
To see Luke straight away. We've got him on the hologram, haven't we? We kind of see Lando, and obviously Chewie is brought in. We then find out that the bounty hunter's Leia, and obviously the question on everybody's lips is, where the hell is Luke?
Yeah.
And then he suddenly appears, and obviously he strangles the Gamorrean guards, and you're like, oh my god, is this a dark Luke? He's wearing all black. You're like, oh man, this is a different Luke.
Kind of like what we said, it really emphasizes that more mature, kind of developed Luke. And then I really like, and obviously when you watch these back, it ruins some of the story. Or I say ruins some of the twists and turns. Obviously, you know what's going to happen, so it's not as impactful. But I really like the kind of whole, he comes in, gets dropped into the Rancor pit, and you're like, what's going on? Why has he just walked in there on his own? Like, and Leia's obviously been captured, pretending to be the bounty hunter, and like everything in your head is going, none of this is working the way that they obviously planned that this should happen. And then we get the whole sail barge kind of run of events, which shows that actually all of this was kind of planned for in a way, and everything's kind of working out for the best. And obviously we get to see the whole Boba Fett going into the Sarlacc pit, which has become infamous and really notorious, and Leia choking out Big Jabba. I
mean, obviously, I mean, that's just iconic, isn't it? I think for me, it's really easy. It's only when we've come to do these reviews, that I've really focused on watching the Star Wars films and thinking, could they have done something better or done something different? The one thing, my main gripe, and one of my only gripes with Return of the Jedi, is the Ewoks. So these, for me, are just, I don't know how to sum it up, but the fact that they're man-eating carnivals, I mean, they are gonna burn Luke and Han and Chewie at the stake and eat them. So that's first of all, like, yeah, they're cute and cuddly teddy bears. Who, the fact that we can't understand them, I don't know. It just, and the fact that they could beat the Empire is just ludicrous. The whole battle on Endor, the whole like throwing rocks at the stormtroopers' helmets. I mean, we know the stormtroopers are brats, but come on. Like, the stormtroopers aren't being beaten by a group of Ewoks.
So I'm going to criticize this I'm going to kind of follow that train of thought and criticize it from a slightly different angle. In that I feel like this is somewhere that George Lucas's plan was compromised for merchandising, etc. Because I think that this, and I'm spitballing a little bit, and I'm kind of going off my own gut instinct, but George Lucas has obviously really famously taken inspiration from samurai and all of that kind of Japanese culture, and there's that story that always gets told in every piece of pop culture somewhere. They do this whole stranger comes to a village, teaches them how to fight, and against overwhelming odds, they win. And I feel like that's what this started off as. And I feel like somewhere along the lines, he lost his way, whether it was him, whether it was outside influence, whatever it was, to try and make this more appealing to kids.
Yeah, and I feel like that would kind of work if we saw the Ewoks like learning. If we had like an 80s kind of montage with music of like the Ewoks learning how to fight, like Han and Chewie teaching them or Luke teaching them, like, but there's just nothing. It's almost like they're battle hardened warriors, like straight away. I don't know. I just think they really take away from like the seriousness of having to take down that shield generator. The whole like the whole galaxy's future depends on them taking out this shield generator.
So we talked about the in Rogue One how it was a war movie, right? War movie set in the Star Wars universe. I feel like this had the makings of that, and then this is the thing that's stopping it from being that. I feel like this was a really serious kind of go in behind enemy lines, take down the shield generator, do all of that kind of stuff, and then this has now become
The fucking Fozzie the Bear.
Ah, are you ready, comedy partner? Waka waka.
yeah, exactly. They've gone like, what can we do to make this more entertaining? Oh, do you know what? What about if some teddy bears could help them out? Like,
Yeah. What if we had some violent sociopath Care Bear carnivals?
it was the Care Bear cast-offs
Yeah.
that
Yeah, the one it's the from the teddy bear factory that didn't get any hearts.
but like, don't get me, as a concept they work and they feel very Star Warsy, right? Trying to sell a story to kids and have that character that pulls the kids in and makes it more family appealing, right? But you're right. When you actually boil it down and you're like, what was Stormtrooper armor made out of? Like the thinnest plastic in the world that if a tiny stone hits you, you're like, oh, I'm knocked out.
Like a few rocks get thrown, like it's almost, and their shield and like their eyes. The stormtroopers, which obviously the acting is just that's obviously what they're being told to do. I'm a bit like, you've got a visor. Like, you don't need to protect that. You can look straight at him. And the rocks aren't even being thrown at any pace, so just bat them away. Like, it's one of those, it's just so cheesy. And normally things like that are so cheesy they work. But in this Star Wars film, I just don't think they work. So that's probably that's my main, that's my main gripe with all this. I don't really. I think I understand why they did it, but the whole idea of having a second Death Star as well, it's almost like, well, we had that.
Ran out of ideas.
A New Hope, yeah. It's like, what can we do? I really liked the scene of Darth Vader's battleship going into the Death Star. Is it the Executor he's got?
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows you the scale of the Death Star, because the Executor is like the biggest ship in the Imperial fleet, and then you see it like it's a tiny spectrum of the Death Star. I like Admiral Akbar. I feel like the Death Star is, it's almost like we needed something else.
But I think that probably comes down to budget and all of that kind of stuff, because they could reuse
Yeah,
models and all of that kind of stuff. And I totally get it. Fundamentally, did it stop me enjoying the movie? No. Did I still watch it and enjoy it?
This is us being very critical, because we're talking a show where we're reviewing a film, so it's good and bad. But I agree. It doesn't impact your like watching it. You don't think like, oh, Death Star again.
I like that we kind of get a little bit of closeout. We get that closure about a lot of the main cast, right? So Luke and Leia address the whole we're brother and sister. Han and Leia finally, like, kind of act upon their feelings, that there's been this kind of tension, hasn't there, between them, and it starts to build to a bit of a crescendo during Empire, and then Han's frozen in carbonite, so nothing else happens. So we actually get the kind of the payoff from all of that, and so we get this really kind of more complete and more kind of closed out ending, which would have been great, and could have been left there. Obviously one of the big things is we get the redemption of Anakin Skywalker, of Vader.
The final part of Anakin's journey through the Force.
Yeah, this is for those that believe that he was the chosen one. This is the fulfillment of that prophecy, right? This is him redeeming himself and actually bringing balance to the Force.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and obviously it ends with Luke with the cool lean against the tree with the one button undone and flipped over. Him coolly looking at the Jedi Masters, and for me, it's just such a great ending with obviously Yoda, Obi-Wan.
Look at
Hayden Christensen.
I'm just gonna pick you up on something there. You said looking at the Jedi Masters. They're not all Masters, mate.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of Master.
Oh, he's bringing prequel memes into it. Oh no.
No, but I do think that's a really powerful scene.
It's really poignant.
Yeah.
It was almost like they're looking at him saying, like, you know.
You done good, kid. You done good, kid.
Yeah.
Like.
It was like the noughties at the end of the high school, like. Not everybody can fit in a Rodale High.
You feel like all that was missing was them like jumping and freeze framing in slow motion, like, and for the fade out. But I don't know, like I don't really want to get too much into the whole changes that were made in the digital remasters. You know, with Hayden Christensen being put in and CGI'd in afterwards. But I think we would be remiss to do a review and not at least briefly touch on it.
Yeah, I think
thoughts.
That's weird. And you know what? I feel really sorry for Hayden Christensen because he had no idea that was happening. That wasn't him saying, "Oh, I reckon I should be in this." Like, and he has taken so much hate for that. Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
I don't hate on him. I don't hate on him at all. The one comment I'm going to make about it is that I feel like it doesn't really make sense because
exactly.
And
it's almost like they've turned into ghosts as they died.
Yes,
as in themselves.
And if that's the argument for Darth Vader did kill Anakin Skywalker, you know, and so when he then became Vader, Anakin Skywalker ceased to exist. He became Anakin again when he redeemed himself when he saved Luke, and therefore it should still be old Anakin and not young Anakin that is the ghost. But hey, the Force works in mysterious ways, and who are we to understand it? So, but yeah.
What if you could just go back to like your young hot self?
Mate, I'd love to look like Hayden Christensen. If I could snap my fingers and look like even ghost Hayden Christensen, I'd take it.
The scar and the wavy hair.
But for me, I do think, you know, it definitely is that roundup movie. They closed it out.
Yeah, I think it's a really good close. Actually, I think it kind of answers a lot of the questions you have from Empire. Answers most, if not all. And don't get me wrong, you'd always want to see like a story, you know, constantly keep going and know what the characters, exactly what happened. And I kind of feel, I was watching an interview the other day with Mark Hamill, and I understand this point of view, that he always said to George Lucas, you're going to tell the story of how, you know, this boy goes from a nobody to the Grand Jedi Master, and at the point he gets to becoming like fully trained, and you finish his story. Whereas surely you should then expand on maybe the New Republic, what's going to happen afterwards. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, because they're all alive, there are questions. Like, do the Empire just float away?
Disappear.
So
what about all those families that were relying on people having incomes from the building of the Death Star?
Exactly. Economic crisis back on Coruscant.
Exactly.
Refugees everywhere.
Exactly.
No,
but
so I think there's something to that in the fact that you can just keep telling a story, can't you? And that's why I think that Star Wars and Disney now are going down the line. Instead of doing movies where you can tell a story in 2 hours, they're doing 5 or 6 hour TV series. Obviously, is then split. I think you can tell much more of the story. But no, I think Return of the Jedi is a great finish to the trilogy. Great finish. And I'm going to start straight away with my score out of 10. I am giving it an 8.
Okay. Solid.
So it loses a point because of the Ewoks, and it loses a point because it's not Revenge of the Sith.
Okay. At least he's being consistent with his scoring. At least he's being consistent with his scoring.
Everyone loses a point. Everybody loses one.
So I would be with you. I'd put it as an 8. I think it's strong. Like I said, you've got to play off some of the things that are kind of issues, so things like the Ewoks and stuff, with what this actually brings to not just this movie itself, but the entire franchise and the entire kind of original trilogy.
Can I be clear? I think the Ewoks ruin it the more you watch Return of the Jedi. It wasn't something I saw it for the first time and thought, what the hell are the Ewoks? It's the more and more you watch it, the more and more you think about it.
Do you feel like that's because the more you watch it, the more you start to spot things like, them playing playing the drums on the helmets of stormtroopers, like, which is pretty. It's like pretty grotesque.
Yeah, and then you probably see an Ewok in the corner chewing on a fucking huge.
Oh, I'm
sure
it'll be there somewhere. It'll be there somewhere. What food? Where did they get their food? What were they all eating at that feast?
Yeah. Didn't see no animals. Didn't see no chickens.
But I mean, for me, I've kind of got this whole. You know me. I love behind the scenes stuff, right? And when they filmed the speeder bike chase, like, that was done using a variety of different methods, but one of them, the key things that they did, was they walked through the forest with the camera on, like, taking like a shot every couple of steps, and then stitched it all together, and that's why it looks like it's going so quickly. Because they didn't have the ability to do what you can do now, where you can go and you can set up a track and run a camera through it. So things like that, I feel like that really adds to. So, like you've said, the Ewoks, the more you watch it, that takes things away. I feel like there are also aspects that the more you kind of learn and the more you watch, they become better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
But no, I'm with you. I would give it an 8. I think is this the only original trilogy movie that we've agreed on score for?
Lord, it's a miracle!
Yes, because you scored A New Hope really high, didn't you? And did I give it a 7?
I think I gave it an 8 and you gave it a 7. And I know that we definitely did not agree on Empire. We'll leave that one. We'll leave that one alone. Go watch the video, guys. Perfect. That pretty much sums up our thoughts, guys. So let us know down below in the comments what you think about Return of the Jedi. Do you think that it was a good roundup? Do you think that's where George Lucas and then when Disney took it over should have stopped? Do you think that it was a perfect summary, or did you hate it? Did you think that you wanted to see Luke turn to the dark side and you wanted things to play out differently? Let us know down in the comments below, because we're always interested to know. And while you're there, why not drop us a little like and a little subscribe as well, but other than that, all that is left to say is thank you guys so much, and we will see you all very soon in the next one.
Force be with you, everyone.